My name is Nephi Robinson, and I left the Kingston polygamist group. The members call it the Order. The legal name is LDCC Church. I left because it became very obvious to me that the people running the group did not represent the principles that they was preaching, and the group did not align with my core values. And I did not want to force my children to grow up with those requirements and in that world. When I left, I knew that my kids' mom would stay in, and it wasn't realistic to try to support two households. So she and the kids stayed in the group, and they stayed in the house, and I went out and established my own foundation and built a community for myself and prepared a way for my kids to come out with me in the future. For me, leaving was a process because a lot of people will just take their things, find some help on outside of the group, and then they will gather their things and then they will leave. But for me, it took a lot of planning because you have to break out of a economical bubble. Because when you work in the order, your paycheck goes to the church automatically. You're working for their companies, and you have this career that you built up in the order, and your money's there. So before I could leave, I had to take some time, find a career outside of the order, and establish myself financially before I could leave, so that I could still continue to support the kids and everything that we had going. Leaving with skills is why I was able to leave and do the things that I did. Um, I'm in a field where I guess it's blue collar, and it's mechanicking, and I'm still doing that. And I left when I was 33. So at that point, then I had worked at the mine, and I had worked in multiple companies, and I had developed skills that um, are in high demand. And so by the time that I left, then I was able to use those to build a career and support myself and uh, create a place for my kids to be able to leave if they wanted to also. But definitely, you have to have skills one way or another. And what I do for work, I didn't need a degree, but I think that a lot of people wouldn't want to do what I do for work. So I am I mechanic garbage trucks, and I get to work at 4 in the morning, and so it's a lot of work. Getting a degree is probably a more comfortable lifestyle than what I'm living, but I am thankful that I'm able to leave the order and find more success. And I'm still I was working in the A1 disposal in the order, and now I'm working for their competitors. So I'm glad that I was able to have the skills that I need to provide a way. Initially I would not work for a competitor. Um, I went to a trucking company that would not have been a competitor to their garbage industry. The garbage industry pays more because it's more complicated and it's messier, and it's just not as comfortable as other heavy duty mechanicing. So initially, for the first 5 years, I would not work for a competitor, even though I believe that's where I would be the most competitive and make the most money. But as they continue to alienate my kids against me and do things that I felt like was so unfair, I was realizing that my loyalty towards them was not justified, and that I need to do whatever it takes to just take care of my kids. So I've been doing that for about 3 years now. Oh, there's a detox, and I think that it's talking to other people that have been through it and that are further along, that you realize, "No, I'm not crazy." Um, the elements of control that they have on you it's everywhere, and you just don't even recognize it until you stop and think critically about why you're doing the things that you're doing. And I still believe in having loyalty. That is one of my core values. But obviously, the number one core value for me is providing for your family and expressing and developing your talents. So, if being loyal to them uh, interferes with that, then I'm going to make this a higher priority because this is a higher value for me. And then again, not to mention that have no loyalty towards me. So to me, success is being able to live your truth and be authentic and have the freedom to live the lifestyle that you want. And everybody has ambitions for different lifestyles. It can be more or it could be less, but whatever that is, to have the freedom to be able to make that happen. Over the next 5 years, I'm going to watch my kids turn into adults. And that is such a huge thing for me. So that is definitely number one. And whatever other goals I have is going to take a back seat to that, for the next 5 years. But my other goals are I am very driven for my career. I feel like I'm doing well in my career. And someday I hope to do a lot of what I was doing in the order, but exercise Christ-like principles instead. I feel like in the order, we were in a position where we were taught to work really hard, and we were taught business management, and we were taught a lot of things. I was in a position where um, we was using the UBM, the Universal Business Model, the different things that they was doing, of course, with their cult flavor and everything. But I feel like you can develop businesses that uh, are that you don't have to manipulate people into wanting to work there. If you treat people right and treat them with dignity and help them to develop and express their talents, then they can have that dignity and that pride. And then if they stay with your company, that's amazing. But if they go somewhere else, then that's good too. But I would like to at some point, I used to run one of Daniel's businesses. I would like to run one of my own businesses, and but do it, with more Christ-like values, so that I don't have to manipulate people into working for me. And another goal too is, and I think this is so important for so many people that leave, and why, having your skills and whatever is going to make you a productive person, you need to find a way to do that. But we grew up in a world where we were consecrated. So like for your entire life, they will have control over you. And so for me, financial freedom is so important to me. At some point, I'm going to work as hard as I can until I can get to a place where I can, be free financially. Not so that I don't have to work anymore. That would be great, but just to be free financially and kind of just do the opposite. Take what they taught us, but instead of building somebody else's legacy, build your own. Because if you're going to build a legacy, it should be yours. But when you're in the order, you have this whole community and you have so much. But you realize, like, if you leave and after you leave, yeah, you have to figure so much out for yourself. And it becomes I've left when I was 33, but it becomes such a part of your identity. And then there's a moment after you leave where you realize that, like, there's so many feelings, there's so many activities, there's a lot of magic in that community. There's a lot of good people. The cost is too much. There's a lot of people in the community and there's a lot of magic there, but the cost to be there is just too much. It's easier to stay, and in the moment, it's easier to just stay. And there's just so much magic in, like, the Wendell's dances and, the 24th of July, or, some people play softball or in the companies. And, but what it costs to be there, I feel like it costs yourself. And they can control everything about you, because when you consecrate yourself, they can threaten you with everything that you have. But I feel like for me, one of the things that I've noticed as I left the order and since then is the world outside of the order is so big. I feel like that there is more opportunity to fail. And so when people leave, and there's a lot of rumors that are said about them, and there's a lot of, sorry, when you're inside the order, they tell you about all the horrible things out in the world. And the thing is those horrible things are there. The world outside of the order is so much bigger. There is a greater opportunity to fail, but there also is a much greater opportunity to succeed. There's a much greater opportunity to find out who you are and find your tribe and become the person that you want to be and live your values, because there's just so much more room to do that. But it is so important that when you leave the order that you find a support system and a safety net, and not just one person, but a net. You need to find a safety net. And for me, I have been very lucky when I left, because there was multiple people at different times in different areas that have helped me. And I've come up with a saying that sometimes when the sun goes down, the stars come out. And people that were always there, but you didn't know them, are suddenly in your life. And they're just giving you enough light to get you back on your feet and on the track that you need to be on. So I've been very lucky with the support system that I've been able to have. And I recommend that if anybody is thinking about leaving, that they find that. And that should be, a top priority. But when I say the stars come out, I never knew Pam and Ron. And they are some amazing people. You guys were always out there. But it was just I never got a chance to see you or meet you because I was in the order. Even my own family members, Julie and, Joe had left, and we had still had a way to be in contact and things like that. But all these relationships end. And then these other relationships just get brighter. And they're the ones that, love you for who you are. You don't have to sacrifice who you are to be in a relationship with them. Today, I am most proud of the fact that I don't have to hide anything about myself to anybody. I am who I am. I work with people who, it doesn't matter if they know different things about me, if it doesn't usually come up in conversation. But just the fact that I can be my authentic self and not have to hide that. And I feel like, when you're in the group, then you have a big family. You have a lot of people around you, but you can't share. If you have a specific thought that isn't kosher to their belief system, you're keeping that to yourself. And it's very easy to feel alone in a big group. But I am so proud of the fact that I don't have anything to hide to anybody. I'm not hiding anything from my kids. I don't have anything to hide to a partner or anybody at work, and I associate myself with people who like me for who I am. And I associate myself with some amazing people. So that's what I'm most proud of right now.